Okay, folks, I'm here with another guest for the Blind Pursuit podcast. And to be on the real with everybody, I'm going to be fully transparent. This is take two for us because my device, the batteries died. So I am very thankful you're willing to do this again. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Claudia, and I live in Indiana, and I am totally blind and have been so since birth.
Okay. So, welcome to the show. And you said you were blind from birth. So, did that have any challenges with the family, so to speak? But before you answer, I would think that, hey, it's kind of like, I hate to compare a human to a dog, right? But like, you know how you bring in a dog that's like 10 years old, 8 years old, whatever, you got to figure out how to retrain it, so to speak. So, since you were blind from birth, was it much of a learning curve for them, or like, how was it growing up for you, in short, with the
I don't,
family?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously, I was born blind, and I have three siblings. I have two brothers and a sister, and you know, I, my oldest brother, he was here before me, and then the other two came after me. So it's like, oh, all right. It just is what it is. I think it was probably more of an adjustment for my parents because it was very unexpected. They didn't know what caused, my blindness or anything like that. So, I think it was probably a shock for them and definitely something that they needed to adjust to.
And blindness, so no light perception, nothing.
No,
Okay.
nope.
Yeah, so me, I'm blind in the right eye. I joke with people because, like, I'm also hearing impaired in the right ear. I just feel like everything on my right side is just gone. You know what I mean? So, but school wise though, how would you describe your schooling, like K through 12? I mean, we'll get to the college and all that later, but how was that for you?
I went to public school, and I had a good experience. I had a really amazing teacher that basically was with me all from oh my gosh, from the start of elementary school through high school. And you know, she pushed me to do, not pushed, but she motivated me to do, stuff that was, I don't know, maybe I didn't think I could do, like extracurriculars, but a lot of academic clubs, spelling clubs, science and math clubs, and stuff like that. So it was an amazing experience. The only downside was that I had to go to public school and it was 20 minutes away from where I lived. So I really didn't get to, you know, play with my friends after school. I could talk to them on the phone and stuff like that, but I didn't have any social interaction with people that I went to school with until we got older and in high school and, the friends started to drive in that.
How was the service like for your schoolwork? Um, I went to high school. Let's see, I'm 46, so like in the 90s. Okay, so but I was at a blind school at the from I went to the blind school from 1994 till I graduated because the home life was a mess. So at the same time, my vision was slipping. So my mom thought, hey, with the nonsense that's going on at home, but at the same time, I honestly think she was just overwhelmed with all the drama at home and a blind son and all that stuff. And the education system for me in the public school system did not work. I can say that now, but like back then when I was a teenager, I just thought my mom didn't want me no more. But uh, I don't know how the public school system, at least for me personally. I mean, I work for a school district now. I know how it goes, but for me personally, it failed me. So that's why I ended up at the blind school. So How did it work for you? Did you get your materials on time? Did you have a
Y
reader?
yeah, yeah, they were really good about that. So I she my teacher, she passed away a few years ago, and we kept in touch long after I graduated high school and college. She came to my, parents my family gave me a surprise party when I, got my master's degree and stuff, and she was there, and I'm like, "Oh my god." But, yeah, she would order books in Braille. If it wasn't in Braille, she would do it. I did have stuff on tape. Uh, I'm not saying that there weren't issues. I don't remember really there being any issues with getting stuff on time until I got to college, but everything was either on tape. Because 'cause I'm 52, so I went to high school, well, yeah, I went to high school in the late '80s, um, and, you know, um, stuff was on tape, or I remember my brother and sister, uh, recording things for me when I was younger, and maybe I didn't have something, available to me from my books. I would still have the print books at home, and they would record for me. I remember that. They were like I was like 8, 9, and they were reading stuff for me.
Oh, my, my sister used to do my homework with me, and so back in the 4th grade, 3rd grade, yeah, we had to do this, write down your spelling words and write a sentence for each of them, right? And
Mhm.
then I didn't know we had to get up the next day in class and read everything, and I'm like, "Oh, no, I can't read my
Oops.
sister's writing."
Oh, man.
It was so embarrassing. I'm like, so I just made it up, and the teacher's like, "That's not one of your spelling words. You can't read what who did your work?"
Busted.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, tapes though. I mean, people listening to this probably don't even know what tapes are. I mean, did you ever have your boom box or your stereo eat your tape up?
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah, I
And
mean,
then you're like, "Oh, man, now what?"
yeah,
Yeah.
cause that's what I was doing when I was going to college. I was using a tape recorder, taping my classes, and then uh, I've always been behind because I live in a small area. I live here in Eastern Washington. I mean, back in 2001 when I first started college, it was small. It's gotten bigger in the past 25 years, but back then it was just like they say, they don't have back then. How did they say it? Like what we have now, they didn't have back then, right?
Oh,
So like
sure.
the college, when my some of because I work for a school, some of the students that go there, they're like, "Yeah, we got a Braille embosser." I'm like, "What? Didn't have one when I went there, man. We had to go across the bridge, jump the fence over to grandma's house just to get the Braille material transcribed and all this other stuff." So it would take like a week. The turnaround was always a week, so I was always a week behind. People would think that, hey, maybe you get extra time to study, but I'm like, no, I got to keep up with the current material. So, education wise, it seems like things sounded pretty good for you, right? You didn't have to play catch up or anything like that. Things ran
No, I mean, I
smoothly.
don't things ran smoothly, I would say. Things weren't so smooth in college, I had readers, the college would pay people to read for me. My sister was actually one of my readers because she ended up going to school where I went. So it was kinda cool. She graduated high school 2 grades behind me, so we're both ended up being psych majors, so we ended up in some lot of classes together. Um, so she, kinda made sense. She was my reader. Not for everything, but, I had readers to read my tests to me, when it was time to take the test. Uh, and by that time, I mean, I was typing my papers, I had a computer for the first time, really, um, and a printer, and that's how I turned in my work. I was typing. I learned how to type when I was like 9 or 10 because you had to.
So college, so I will assume the 90s. You went to college in the
Yeah.
90s. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see. What you were probably using. Yeah. What screen reader were you using? Because back then,
JAWS.
JAWS, there was
Oh, it was
WindoWise.
horrible. but Jaws has come so far since, when we first started using it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I mean
but I mean, it got the job done, and in grad school was the first time when I could actually do my own research. Before that, I had to depend on, going to the library with readers in college. And, you know what's in your mind in terms of how you want to do your research or what you want to research. But, trying to make that click to somebody else to try to help you find stuff that's relevant is difficult,
mhm.
so didn't get to I got to finally experience what it's like to do your own research or without assistance, when I got into grad school.
I actually attempted grad school for, like I lasted 1 semester or 1 quarter, whatever, because, um, I like I've told people, I just took on too much too soon, you know what I mean? Like, I just got married, just got a job, got a couple of kids. "Oh, let's go to grad
Just
school."
add grad school in the mix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's take on the whole world, and then, between
Yeah.
working a full-time working back then and, changing diapers in the middle of the night because wife had to work in the morning, so I just thought to be respectful, like, "Hey, she gotta go to work, she's paying the bills, so I'm just going to school, right? So let me just do this and do that." And it just caught up to me, I just crashed, you know?
Yeah.
But
It wasn't easy. It was not easy. I doubted myself a lot along the way.
but in a way, though, I'm kinda glad it didn't work out for me because I was going for either clinical counseling or school counseling, and I was in the program enough to know that I was glad I didn't make it because, you know, I just felt like I need to get myself right first, you know what I mean? Before I offer services like that to somebody else, if that makes sense.
Sense. Yeah. Ironically enough, that's what I did. I went into that. I have a master's in mental health counseling, and I've been working in social work for 30, no, 20 plus 20 some years. 24, something like that.
Yeah, so when you mentioned earlier about college being, difficult or whatnot, what was the most challenging piece for you in college or multiple pieces that were challenging?
I mean, I guess I wouldn't even say that it was challenging because of being blind, although now I remember turning in papers and not knowing that my printer had run out of ink, right? And
Yeah,
there's nothing
it was
more
blank.
embarrassing than going to your professor and say, "Here's my paper," and she's like or he's like, "It's blank." And I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like, "I have it." So I remember going home and emailing it, like, right away or whatever, but, I had stuff like that. But, I mean, the classes themselves were just very challenging. I went to school at night, so during the day, I, was doing, internship work. Obviously, when in order to get your degree, you had to put in 1,000 hours of actual, time in, an agency to help with, fulfilling that requirement. So I worked at a domestic violence shelter. So, I mean, my days would start like at 6 a.m. I would go there, go to work, what I called work, it's my internship. Leave there like at 4:30. I'd go straight to class. Classes were usually like 5 to 9, sometimes 5 to 9:30, depending. And it was exhausting. It was exhausting.
My goodness, you talk about a blind pursuit. So, that's some mad respect from me though, because I was working, what, 8 to 3:30 at the time, and then Fridays I had to be at school for 5:30. The next day it was 8 to 3. Sunday it was 8 to 3. I was so dead by the time Sunday night hit, and just had to keep doing that, but like I said, it all crashed on me, like, 6 I mean, I failed what was the class I took that I failed, actually? Counseling and Technique, I think it was called. And in grad school, you need a 80% or higher, right?
Yep.
So, I got a 76. I don't know,
Yeah.
that was close for me, but I'm like, in a way, when I kept in touch with a couple of the cats in that program, and if I would've passed that class, the rest of the way would have been easy based on what they were teaching, the work, and I don't remember the classes, but because this was like 10, 20 years ago, so but
Yeah, it was
yeah,
intense. It
big
was I almost failed. I and I am so grateful that, you I don't know about your program, but in my program, if you can get 1 C, okay? And then this was at that time. And if you got a 2nd C, it was, like, pretty much a no. You had to have, like,
mm-mm.
A's and B's throughout the whole program. And I remember one of my biggest classes that I struggled with, I think, was statistics.
Oh my
And,
goodness, I hate that class.
right, it was horrible. And I struggled with that, and I struggled with counseling theory, of all things, which is obviously important, but I'm not sure that it was, the content. I think I had a lot going on at that time, and I got a C. And I remember them sitting me down and having this conversation and saying, I don't know, basically, we don't know if you, uh, are a good fit for this program. I'm like, you've seen my work. I'm not sure how it happened, but they did give me another opportunity to take the class, and I got a higher grade, and then I was able to move forward. But was I was sweating bullets because, I had put all my blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I was almost done, and I'm like, "I can't stop now. I don't know what I'll do."
So are you private practice or
So, no, my life took a total turnaround. I've worked in social work for a lot of years in different capacities, but I never got that was the goal, was to get my LMHC, licensed mental health counselor license. Never got it because after I finished grad school, I got pregnant, and you know, I was already working at a domestic violence shelter. My plan was to work there and work under my boss, you know what I mean, to get my licensure hours. And, I, I decided that the family was, I worked there after I had my son for a couple years, but I decided that I'd had enough of that particular situation. And so I stopped working for a little while to be at home with my boy. And, you know, then I got into another social work situation, but I never got my license. And I'm still working in social work, but I am currently a vocational rehabilitation counselor for the VA. And, it's rewarding. It's very challenging, very stressful, but uh, it is what it is.
so what do they do? Are they the same, like, a woke rehab counselor for the blind, you know what I mean? Like,
No, no. It's a little bit different. We are more like career counselors. Um, and so we assist veterans with employment. The primary goal of our program is employment, but if that means that they need education in order to, achieve that final goal, then that's where we assist them with providing tuition assistance with going to school,
oh, yeah,
to
so
learn a
it's
trade or to learn, um, you know, uh, to what's the other word? To go to university and study some type of degree program.
okay, so it is almost kinda like on the rehab level for the blind services because, you wanna go to college. What do you wanna do? Okay, so we're gonna pay for your tuition. What do you need? You know what I mean? So it's like they kinda supply that for the individual so they can get where they need to go, right? That's what it
Yeah, I
sounds
guess
like.
I said no because I was a state rehab counselor too before that, and I feel bad for the people that are doing that work now because they're so much more limited than we were when I was doing it. A lot of states have, tightened their budgets,
Yeah, I was about to
due
say all the
to
budget cuts
federal
nowadays.
constraints and
Yep,
everything,
yep.
and, so they're not able to do a lot of the stuff that I was able to do when I was there, like independent living services for the blind, which to me is very, very important.
Oh, yeah.
If if I lost my vision tomorrow and it didn't have it, you know what I mean? There aren't a lot of places that I can go and get services because unless you're wanting to go to work, a lot of the states have cut out independent living services, which means things like learning how to cook by yourself, learning how to clean as somebody who's blind, learning how to do laundry, learning how to label, um, label kitchen gadgets and things around your house to help you be independent. All that stuff isn't available like it used to be, and I think it's sad.
So you don't have to travel for your job, do you?
No.
Yeah, I work for the school district, and this year I tried to. Well, actually, no, I didn't. Let me rewind. For about 6, 7 years, I was working at the same school, but now, past couple of years, I've been going back between three different schools. Thank goodness, not in one day though. Because they know my limitation, right? I can't just
Right.
hop on the bus and make it.
Right.
I could hop on the bus, but I'm not. I'm going to be at that school at this certain time, and I can't meet because you got to work within the schedule and
Right.
the time
Right.
allotted on the IEP. So like, so you want me to catch the bus, go meet with them for 10 minutes, and then get on the bus? It's not going to work, you know.
Yeah.
So they figured it out. They got me out of middle school on a Monday, and then Tuesday at a high school, Friday at a high school, and then the reason why I'm working less hours is because I don't know if you remember or heard about it, but what 10, 11 years ago, there was this. I don't know if Obama came out with it, but if you had a disability, and you can correct me or elaborate if you heard about it, you can get your student loans forgiven. Have you heard about that program years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, student for loan forgiveness.
So I took advantage of that. They said, I can't remember who I was dealing with. It starts with an N. Um, but I had to make under 16,000. That was the caveat. I'm like, oh no. So I asked my job, I'm like, hey, can I decrease my hours? And then 4 years later, I got my student loans forgiven. It was a huge amount. So I'm kind of glad I went through that. But
Right.
7, 8 years later, it's kind of like what my coworker told me. She's like, "Yeah, they're so quick to cut your hours, but when you want them back, nah."
Right. Yeah.
So, and during all that time, I was grinding as a single parent, and it was tough. But how was parenting for you though? You did mention the boy. I mean, did you get any any doubts, any things like that? How do you do it? You're blind.
Oh, yeah, all the time. I mean, I we started talking about this earlier, but, I do have I know that there were people in my life, I won't mention names, but
Yeah, yeah,
who even wondered why I would have a child because I'm blind, like, and that was hurtful to me because I thought, I'm no different than anybody else. Like, why should I not be allowed to have a child? If that's my choice, that's my choice. Who are you to say, um, you know, I shouldn't have one? But as far as, raising him, we got a lot of, his dad is also blind. So we had a lot of, people always ask us, oh, is he your helper? No, he's not.
yeah.
Um, he's here because we want him here because he is our world, because, not because he needs to help me cross the street or buy the groceries or, get to the bus stop, whatever.
Yeah, I got that a lot. My kids got that a lot, actually. A lot of pats on the back because we would be crossing the street and some random person That's so kind of you to help your dad across the street. We're like, we're crossing the street together. What are you talking about? You know?
Right, right.
But but to be fair though, those who I mean, those that are listening, blind parenting, it's really maybe I might be biased, but it's really not that challenging. I mean, because back then I had hearing, right? So for those that forgot, out there listening, I mentioned in the first episode I have no hearing in my right ear, but uh like, when I was raising them, I still had good hearing up until I can't remember how old they were, but like 8, 9, 10-ish, whatever. But um did you have any particular methods? Did you have any equipment or anything like that to help you?
No, no, I mean, it just I remember I remember my son being little and getting into things, and I would we would hear him and we're like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" "Well, how do you know? How do you know?" You know?
Yeah, because your
Um,
hearing is probably way better, 'cause what they say, right? When you lose one sense, another one is stronger. Do you believe that?
yeah, I
So,
don't believe it necessarily, but I mean, everybody says it, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, but,
to each their own.
yeah, but I mean, it helped me get through a lot of things. There were obviously things we couldn't see. There was a period of time where my son was writing on our living room walls, and we had no idea.
Oh,
Oh, it
I
was
know
horrible
exactly what you're
when
talking
we found
about.
out.
Yeah,
It
I
was
know it
horrible.
I know all too well because my granddaughter, like, back then when she was 2 or 1-ish, but I'll be all proud of myself 'cause I cleaned the house, it looks great, smells great, blah, 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 and the homie comes over and, Man, yeah, your house is off the hook, bro, but you need to clean these walls, man." I'm like, "What are you talking
You're like,
about?"
"What?"
Like, "Yeah, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Who drew all over the walls?" I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm like, "What do you mean?"
How long has that been there?"
I remember my brother coming into the house and he says, "It looks like a gang has been through here and just tagged your house and graffitied it." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
But,
I will never forget that.
let's just be real though. So, like, blindness though, if your house is a mess, is it really attributed to because you're blind? Or maybe I just don't feel like cleaning today. You know what I mean? Like, why does everything have to be blamed on blindness is where I'm getting at. I mean, if my house is cluttered right now, it's not because I'm blind. It's because I just don't feel like cleaning right now.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts
I
about that?
struggle with that. I struggle with that because I'm kind of a neat freak, and I think it's because I do worry about what people think when they come into my house, and I would rather it be presentable than not be. Plus, I have a guide dog, so, I'm constantly vacuuming because depending on the time of year, he's shedding, and I like a clean house, and so I really strive to make that happen. I clean several times a week, even though I'm tired as hell. Sorry. Um,
No, you're good.
but, you know, eh, cleanliness is important to me because I think it it's hard for me because I want to be accepted in that arena. Like, I want somebody to come over and say, "Your house is," and it does happen. "Your house is I don't know what you're talking about. You say you're always cleaning. Why are you always cleaning? Your house is" God, I can't think of the word. Spick and span, basically, you know?
Yeah, when I had my own apartment before marriage, before kids and all that, right? They would always tell me my apartment was like very clean for a blind person. I'm like, I was taking
Right,
that as
as
like
compared to what? Right,
exactly. I was taking that as a compliment until the last part. I'm like, oh, but
as a blind person, yeah, for a blind person.
so did your son have any questions as he was growing up about mommy and daddy being blind?
No, I mean, I think it's because, he grew into it. It was just there. I mean, nothing changed. He was born into it. So, I'm sure he got questioned, yes, by his friends or whatever, "How do your parents do this?" and things like that. But did he ever really, have questions? No. He saw 2 capable parents, not that we didn't make mistakes and not that we didn't burn dinner sometimes or,
Even
you
silent
know,
people do that though. Yeah.
right, right. But I mean, uh, he had as much of a normal childhood as we could give him. No. Could we drive? No. Did we have to take a bus to go somewhere? Yes. Did we have to make arrangements if we needed to get him somewhere that wasn't, on a bus route or something like that? Yes. But we made it work because we wanted him to be included. We didn't want him to feel less than because his parents were blind. We tried to give him as much of a normal childhood as we could, you know?
Yeah, my kids had questions. I mean, they would never ask me. They always asked their mom, right? It's like they were afraid to ask me. Like, I remember we were walking to school to drop them off, and I heard my middle child walking behind me with their mom. Hey, mommy, why does daddy use that stick? You know, the cane? And then
Yeah.
she had to explain it to her and all this and that. But you mentioned guide dog. That's pretty cool, though. Which
So
school did you go to?
I didn't always have a dog. I went to the Seeing Eye. I am on my second dog. I never ever thought I've always been a cane user. A decent cane user, but obviously when you get a dog, you have to have good decent mobility skills.
Right.
Because, despite what other people think, the dog does not know every place on the planet, so no, it doesn't get you there. You get yourself there with its help. You know what I mean? A lot of people think that the dog just knows what to do, when to do it, how to do it. That's not how that works. So I used a cane until I was 45, I think. And then I fell when I was crossing the street once, and there was a car behind me, and it kind of freaked me out. I was able to, nothing happened. I remember the guy actually getting out. Like my foot got caught in something, and I was about to get to the other side, but didn't quite make it. Anyway, he got out and he's like, "You okay?" And I kind of twisted my ankle and I just got back on the sidewalk and kept on walking. But it was that experience that said, maybe it's time for me to get a dog because what happened that time wouldn't have happened if I would have a dog because he would have taken me around that it was a sewer grate that I walked into. Um, and he would have taken me around that and that wouldn't have happened. Right. And I'm not saying that dogs are, miracle workers. Again, you have to know how to work the dog, but it's amazing. It's been such an amazing and very good experience for me. I
I've
have gained so
never,
much independence. It's I can't even tell you.
I've never had a guide dog. I got turned down 3 times. Um, but during the training process, I told you guys get to know each other, right? So you guys kind of create that rapport, that bond. So, um, that helps, right? I mean, when you're at the training school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. My first dog was Goofy. Not that's not his name. My first dog is a golden retriever, and he retired early, and we still have him. My son and I share custody. I say we share custody because he bonded very closely with my son. So, when my son moved out, he's like, "Mom," and I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Yes," and I'm like, "No," and we came to an understanding. So, he has my golden, and now I have a black lab and golden cross, and he's been with me. It'll be 2 years in July, and this dog is amazing. Not that my first dog wasn't, but this dog is just so much different, and I just see so many differences compared to having my first dog to now. It's just I I could talk about it all day, but, um, he's great. They're both great in their own ways, um, but this dog really knows me, like, he watches me like a hawk. He is always, like, wanting to know what's happening, what I'm doing. He's probably sitting here watching me right now, laying in the corner, looking up, like, "What's happening right now?"
yeah. So yeah, a moment ago I said I got turned down 3 times. I don't remember the 3rd one, but, um, one lady said I can't remember the name of this no, it was Guide Dogs School for the Blind, I believe, out in Oregon. She said I had too much functional vision because when she rolled up to my house, I was going up and down the stairs, jumping on whatever, right? No cane in sight. I'm like, who used I mean, if you do, I'm not clowning on you guys, right? But I'm just like, who uses their cane in their house? You know?
Yeah, nobody does.
Exactly.
Nobody does.
Too much functional vision. And then the other one was because, back then I only worked at one school and I hardly ever went anywhere outside of work. So she was like, the dog's gonna get bored because you're not going anywhere. But I've spoken to people over the years that they don't go out places a lot, you know, and their dog's home all the time.
Yeah,
I see where
I've
they're
heard
coming
that
from.
too.
I see
I've
where they're
heard
coming
that.
from.
Or, like, if you live in a small town and you're not working, like, it seems like you're less likely to get a dog, but, uh, you know, I'm
Yeah,
sorry that that happened to you.
or if I go to the same school every day, it's not gonna work because the dog is gonna get bored. You're going to the same place every day. I'm like,
No, I mean, that I don't understand that because I went to work at the same place for, like, 5 years
exactly.
while while my dog slept under my cubicle. I mean, so, you know, but
Yeah, even my
I don't
vision
know.
teacher back in, I started learning Braille and all that in the 3rd grade, and she'd be at the school from like 8 until we got out. So that dog be under the table pretty much. Okay, she took him out during lunchtime, and after that, it was when the school
Yeah.
got out. So, but that's pretty dope, though. I will say, it sounds like you had a pretty decent grind, so to speak. I like to say, good family, friends. You learned your craft with the braille and the technology, and a master's degree, though. That's some major props right there.
It hasn't all been easy, though. I mean, just you know, people who aren't in our world don't really know what we have to do in order to get there, you know? And I mean, it was blood, sweat, and tears. And I feel like, I'm finally like, I will probably retire from where I am at this point, you know? I don't plan to make any changes or anything like that. But I mean, you have to be motivated to want to do, you know, uh, I just always had a push or a drive to do more, to be more, to want more. And I
But
don't
that
know
was for
where that
yourself,
comes
though.
from.
Yeah, that was for yourself, though, not to prove anything
Right.
to
Well,
the
no,
society,
because I
so to
did want
speak.
to prove something. I
To
mean,
society, though. Yeah.
I think part of it was to prove something. I was trying to prove to I wanted to feel accepted and I wanted to feel quote unquote normal like everybody else. And yeah, I think part of it was I was trying to show people on the outside, I can do this. It doesn't matter that I'm freaking blind. It just, I got this. I can do it. But it it wasn't easy. I'm not saying, I've had lots of stuff happen. I've fallen, you fall a lot when you're blind, you trip over stuff, um, I've gotten now that I have a dog, I've gotten a lot of Uber denials, which are so frustrating.
Oh, I've seen those
Um,
stories so many times. It just breaks my heart.
it's not an easy life, I guess, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't imagine not doing what I'm doing.
All right, so I'm gonna ask some general questions that you may frown upon, but what, so you can cook, right? Uh,
Mhm.
how did you learn how to cook? Who taught you?
So my son's dad actually taught me how to cook because I had no idea. I will say that in that part of I was very, very sheltered growing up. Yes, I had, like I talked about close-knit family and stuff, but I was very sheltered. My mom did not really want to teach me how to do things because she was afraid. I get that. I'm not resentful. But when I started dating, my son's dad, he would teach me. He taught me, we started obviously with the basics, something easy, and I learned from him. I learned
Like
how to
using the
cook, I learned how to
toaster?
clean. No, no,
You said something
no, like
simple, basic.
making I don't know, like making eggs or, you know, um, but cooking, cleaning, washing, all of that stuff, I didn't do any of that at home, which, that was the source of contention for me and my sister because she was kind of resentful when we were growing up because she had to do all of that. She had to iron, cook, and clean, and, I remember her saying, "How come you don't make Claudia do any of that?" She was right. She was right, but my mom was scared.
Yeah, I remember when I was 19, right when I graduated high school, now I can say I was in lust, not in love, right? So I told my mom, I'm moving out to go live with my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, "Who's gonna cook for you? Who's da 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 da?" I'm like, uh, well, since I'm in a relationship, she likes to cook, she's gonna cook, but it's not like I don't know how to, which at that time, I knew how to cook, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the blind
Right.
school, you taught DLS, and you took those classes, daily living skills, where they teach you how to cook, clean, sew, blah 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 blah. But I can't remember because like I owned up to it. I messed up the recording, so I think I said this in the last recording or what. But don't attribute my messy house because I'm blind. Don't attribute that I can't cook because I'm blind. Sometimes some of us just don't want to, right? You know what I mean? Like,
You don't feel like
yeah, just
it.
don't
You're
feel like
done
it.
working at the end of the day and you're just tired.
Yeah,
I
you just
know.
want to
I
kick it.
look at my house sometimes like, "Oh, Lord," you know?
I mean, because I'm the same way as well. I mean, I'm a clean freak myself, but after a while, raising three kids, you clean and clean and clean and clean, and it just mess it up. You're just like, forget
And
it.
there's no end. It just keeps happening. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah,
But,
yeah, it's like pulling weeds in the backyard. It's just like a never ending thing.
mhm.
But now, like I said, I'm
And
on
they
my
always come
own.
back.
I'm on my own. So if there's a mess, I got no one else to blame but me. But it's nice and clean, but it's never gonna be house of the year. But I never wanted it
Right.
to be that way though, you know?
No, I get that.
But yeah, so guys, as you guys are listening to this, so being blind is really not all that bad. I mean, it's like you said earlier, you just gotta be motivated, right? Isn't that what it's all about? Having that right attitude? If you walk around every day with a defeated attitude, it's probably not gonna get you anywhere, right?
No,
So
I mean, you have to want it. You have to want to work towards something. And if you have that mindset and if you have that, you know, I mean, you can't hurt yourself by trying it. And if it's something that may not work out, that doesn't mean that something else might not work. But I mean, I feel like there's so much potential. Uh, Regardless of whether you're blind or not, you just have to tap into it.
yeah, work with your strengths, hide your weaknesses, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I gotta give you props. You had one child, I times that by 3 for me, but I think I told you off the record or sometime, but I took on too much too soon, but that's okay. Everything happens for a reason. I'm glad where I'm at. Um, but so do you have any words of wisdom, any advice for any listeners that we have out there, whether they're 13, because like I said, to my other guests, we never know who's listening. Any words of advice, encouragement?
I just feel like, if you're blind and you're kind of feeling down about it and you have that why me attitude, been there, done that, got depressed about it, I kind of messed up some of my college experience because of it. I let that depression get the better of me, but you know, blindness is not it is not the worst thing in the world. It is, it is something that is you can it's surmountable. In other words, you can get over it. Not over it, but I'm saying you can work with it.
You
It's
can get
not
through it, yeah.
yeah, you can get through it. You can be independent. You can be, I feel like the army, be what you want to be, but you really can. I mean, you have very little limitations. Yeah, so we can't drive. Oh, well. But, if somebody is out there thinking or struggling, like, what am I going to be able to do as a blind person? There are so many people out there that are doing so many things and they're blind and they're living their life. So
And here's an
I'd say,
example. Yeah, and here's an example right here. Claudia, math graduate degree. For those out there, getting a graduate degree is not easy, because like when I started and failed, they said in order to get through your graduate program, you pretty much have to put us first above everything else. And that's your family, that's your job. Oh my goodness, that was tough. So I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry. I just had
no, no,
to,
no, it's fine. I
yeah.
mean, it, yeah, that was tough, but I didn't have a family. I had work and I had, my significant other, but I was in it for the long game. Um, but I just think that you can do talk to people, meet people that are blind and let them tell you also what they do, how they do it.
Yeah, don't be
Maybe
afraid to
somebody
ask
out there can teach you
questions.
how to do some stuff that you absolutely,
I mean, that's how
absolutely.
I got into music in the first place. We're gonna bring up some social media apps here, guys. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Google it. But um, I s- I don't know who brought this up, but I started using an app back in 2018, 2019 called Vorel. Have you ever used that one?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't
Yeah,
know anything about that.
I was on there until they started charging, and I said forget it. But I met some beat makers on there. I'm like, I was just like this, I don't want to say ignorant, but like, oh my god, you're blind. How can you make music? You know what I mean? And then that's when I learned about the Mac and all this other stuff, and I'm like, oh, cool. Now here I am, 8 years later, doing my own beats and stuff. But yeah, ask people, network. Don't be afraid to ask questions, guys. What do you do on your free time? What do you like to do for your hobbies and stuff? Do you have any hobbies?
So yeah, I used to do a lot of baking. Not because I would bake and it would relax me, and then I would give it away, just because. Or I would bake, of course, for my son, and when I was, with, my son's dad and his family and stuff like that, we would have get-togethers and, you know, I I I did a lot of baking and loved it. But now I do a lot of reading, I go for walks, I live in the Midwest, and so I look for spring and summer because any chance I can get to be outside after work, I am out in the backyard listening to tunes. I go to free concerts in town with my friends and stuff like that when there's a lot of stuff happens here during the summertime. So I'm, out and about, enjoying music, enjoying the outdoors. That's me.
Your technology, though. So I know we touched on this briefly, but so you use just your iPhone,
No,
or
so I read Braille, but I read it fluently, but honestly, on this job, I don't use it as much as I thought I would. I'm primarily a JAWS reader at work, um, JAWS listener,
yeah,
whatever.
JAWS user?
And
Yeah.
I do have a Braille display that I do use periodically.
Which one do you have?
And then the Focus 40 Blue.
Oh, I got the Mantis Q40. I love it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I don't use it to the extent that I should, but because I'm a very quick listener with JAWS and I have to process so much information on a daily that there's a lot of records that I'm looking at, a
Yeah.
lot I'm doing a lot during the day, so yeah, I use JAWS and then I use my iPhone, and then I do use a regular computer, my personal computer when I'm not working, if I wanna but I don't even take that out that much anymore. I get overstimulated at work with listening to JAWS all day, reading stuff to me, so by the time I'm done, I'm like done.
Oh no, I hear you. It's kind of like if you, I don't know, answer phones all day. You come home, you just unplug the phone, because you're tired of
Yeah, and
it ringing.
that's it. I tell my friends, I'm like, I don't really talk to people until the weekends, just because I work very long days and I get up really early. And by the time I'm done, I'm over it. I'm reading a book. I'm gonna go sit outside, take my speaker, and down decompress.
Exactly, you gotta decompress. Now for me, no different circumstance. I just got the Mantis Q40 because I was doing these workshops right online, and I'm like trying to take notes, and but my screen reader is talking, and then the speaker's talking, and my one ear is trying to hear everything, and so I just saved up a couple $1,000 because that's how much this thing costs. Cause it's like $2,500, and then I bought myself the Mantis, and it's really been helping me out take notes when people are listening because I can't listen to my screen reader and the person talking at the same time. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, no, I get it. It's hard. I When I work, I have a headset in one ear, but my headset has, two sides. But I have that in one ear, and then I'm listening to my people that I'm working with on the other side, and I'm typing, and I'm just like, okay, this is too much.
yeah,
Taking notes or whatever. So you do what you got to do to get it done.
so a lot of the things I ask my guests, if there's anything they would like to promote. I mean, because I try to talk to independent artists on here. People who have programs they like to offer. Like I had a guest on here that runs a business that does um business cards where he embosses business cards for people. So there's nothing you would like to advertise?
I don't have any. No, I got nothing.
Just the straight words of wisdom from earlier, huh? Just which is great though, because I absolutely 110% off top respect that. I mean, I tried getting to where you are, and I just couldn't do it. It was just way too much for me. The graduate degree,
Yeah.
piece that
No,
I'm
I
talking about.
appreciate it, but it's
It is what it is, as they
yeah,
say.
I I say that a lot. It is what it is.
Okay, okay. Well, it was nice having you on the show, and when it goes live, I hope you will subscribe to the podcast to hear our other guests. You don't have to listen to yourself if you don't want to. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to
Yeah, that's usually
episode.
a no, right?
Yeah, you're gonna go to episode 7. I'm gonna listen to the episode with Claudia. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I appreciate the time and especially the forgiveness, even though you didn't forgive me when I messed up the first time.
Yes, I did.
Uh, the
It's kind of unspoken.
yeah, um, because the technology piece though. So I got the P4 Next. Have you heard of that? It's a recorder. Are you
Mm,
familiar with those
no,
products? Because I'm not.
no.
Just because
Uh-uh.
just because I have one doesn't mean I'm an expert. It's just somebody recommend I get it, and I'm like, I need to find out how to charge this thing because I'm running on batteries. So, and I was telling myself that at work, this thing better not die on me when I go interview Claudia. I jinxed
No,
myself.
I will admit, I will say one thing real quick is I used to be very much a techie person, and I used to try to keep up with all of it. I would be on all these email lists that would talk about all this technology, and especially with computers, I knew how to do a lot of stuff in Windows and how to make repairs and stuff. Now I could care less. I do what I need to do, and that's pretty much it because I don't have time to learn all that anymore.
No, I'm the same way. I just feel like my
I
brain
don't
just
care
can't.
anymore. I don't
Exactly.
Yes, I don't
But
I just needed whatever I have to work.
yeah, guys. I mean, we're not saying like we're not trying to be negative or nothing, but when you get to our age, you're gonna know what we're feeling, you know. So, but yeah, thanks again, and I like to call it the Forbidden Planet. Um, You know what I'm talking about. We won't mention it here, but if you don't know, it's how I contacted you and where I found out.
Oh, yeah, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, I call it the the Forbidden Planet.
The Forbidden Planet, okay.
I'll probably see you around there, and thank you for your time. Though I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for inviting me, and, I always love to do this stuff, so,
Yeah, would you
you
like
know,
to come back on again to at least meet the co-host?
sure, let me know.
Yeah. The next time we'll do it in Zoom though.
Alright,
Zoom will
whatever works.
Zoom will not die.
That's right.
All right. Well, you have yourself a great evening, and thank you for joining us.
Alright, thanks for the invite.
Thank you.